We're welcoming in UCF head coach Greg Lovelady to the podcast. Your Knights went into Oxford, not an easy place to win. You took 2 out of 3 games against the number 1 team in the country. So what's your biggest takeaway from the weekend?
I was just glad to see our guys getting back, back to kind of what I thought we were, in terms of just the energy and the ability and everything. We obviously had a rough start to the season. I mean, obviously I wasn't even there. I had COVID and missed the first 4 games. So I wasn't even in the dugout. So it's hard to me to compare, but just watching it online and watching the guys and obviously talking to the older guys, it just, I think we got punched in the mouth opening weekend, kind of, had a vision of, hey, we're just going to continue where we left off last year. And just some errors and a big hit that they got, a grand slam, and that kind of just started the snowball effect in both games. And we just really pitched like crap, and when we needed to score a couple more runs, we just couldn't do it. So and then we came out really, really flat on Tuesday, and so here we are 1-3, and I think the guys were just like, whoa, like we just got punched in the mouth and just kind of stunned for a little bit, you know what I mean? But I felt like we got back to kind of exactly where we were last year in terms of the energy. And, we obviously felt like we won 26 and a half innings. We get walked off in game 2. We were one out away from sweeping. And last year was awesome at Auburn, but and very similar. I mean, two very, very good teams. I mean, obviously had to beat a first rounder last year on Friday night, and we probably beat a first rounder this Friday night. But obviously the atmosphere is way different, way more difficult now. Again, COVID helped us a little bit because there wasn't as many fans as there could have been probably. But I'm not sure that there would have been a ton more either, So, but the fans were awesome, and when I mean awesome, they were like brutally. All over our kids in the outfield and the bullpen, like just absolutely just demolished them. And our kids can't stop talking about it. And again, that's probably the reason why we go. We want to play in regional, super regional type atmospheres against really good teams, but you also want to go places that you're going to talk about for the rest of your life and those memories. And so it was a tough place to play and to go and play as well as we did. I was just proud of the kids for bouncing back. I mean, we could have sulked and continued to spiral kind of downward, and but our kids didn't. I mean, we showed some toughness, especially on Saturday. I mean, to lose the first game in a walk-off and a doubleheader, and feel like, man, we were 1 out away. We could have just let that kind of bleed over into game 3 and game 2 of the doubleheader, and just kind of get punched in the mouth again and just not be out of the game in the first inning. And we threw the first punch in game 3 and we kind of stunned them, I think, and were able to get a big lead and be able to hold on. So I was just proud of the toughness, proud of the way the guys bounced back, and just proud of the energy. And it's good to see us play a lot better baseball than we did the first weekend.
A lot happened on that Saturday. So first off, the schedule just was adjusted due to weather. So like you mentioned, you had to play a doubleheader, and there's a real gut punch there where it looked like you had the series clinched in the first game. Ole Miss walks it off. What's the conversation like after that that allowed you to be able to go back in game 2 and refocus?
Well, I mean, it was just telling the truth. Like, look, that sucked. Like, and you guys are hurt and upset, and it's like you had something in your grasp and it got stolen from you. You know what I mean? And but that's the game of baseball, and it's also the game of life. And like the next game is coming. Like in 45 minutes, like we have to be ready. Like we can. And I basically told him, like, we can sit here and this is going to be an absolute sign of our toughness on this team. And then we've shown some great toughness in both games. Like the first game, getting up the home run the ninth, we battled through it. And I thought our pitching staff did a great job. The weather, the interference, like there was just a ton of different things that we showed some toughness to. And this was I just challenged the guys. Like, this is going to show our true toughness. It's not about winning and losing, but how are we going to come out? What's the energy level going to be like? Like, because we can either 2 choices. We can sulk and mope and just go out there and lay our gloves out there and just get punched in the mouth again and the what ifs, or we can go out there and show how tough we are and have short memories, and like nothing gets taken from this game to the next game. Like they don't get a 2-run spotted lead because they walked us off in this game. Like it's 0-0. Like, and we got to be able to be tough enough to move on and go play this game and fight like crazy to win the series. Our goals every weekend is to win the series, and we got an opportunity to do that. And we had a chance right there, and we blew it. But like we got another chance. Like, and you can either go out there and show them like, hey man, like we're the real deal and go win the series, or you can go out there and just mope that you should have won the first game of the doubleheader and just let them pounce all over you. And so just challenge the guys, and luckily they were up for the challenge and came back, like I said, and threw the first punch in the first game. And I think that was a big, once that kind of started, I think our guys were like, all right, we got this, and just kind of rode that wave to the end.
Can you talk about your pitching progress from week one? Because there's a little bit of a shaky start to the year for you in terms of pitching, but especially your starters against Ole Miss, just 5 earned runs and 18 innings pitched, and really kept you in those games. How has the pitching progressed just week 2 to week 1?
Yeah, again, I think the pitching was a little bit overblown last week in terms of how bad they were. You look at Colton Gordon; he gives up 5 runs in 5 innings. I think 4 of them were unearned. And we just made 2 plays, probably 2 plays that were errors. There probably was another play that should have been made. And Colton had to pitch better. He didn't pitch great at all, but he didn't pitch terrible. Like, you make those 2 plays and he probably gives up 2 or 3 runs. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe 1. Like, and so then that all of a sudden that's a different narrative, right? And obviously, now Hunter was a big one, and again, Hunter came out with great stuff in Game 2, Saturday game last week, and against FAU, and first clean, had a clean first inning, looked really good. They came out, got a hit, and then it was a walk, and maybe another hit, and then the grand slam, and that kind of was just like he didn't handle it very well, like just was upset, and again, one of the things that I had talked about, Hunter, before the season started, was just how much his maturity, in practice the week before, he gave up 2 home runs. Problem was there were 2 solo shots, and I think those were the only 2 hits he gave up in 5 innings, but he managed, and he handled it, and he moved on, and the home runs didn't affect him at all. He just went on to the next pitch, and I just felt like when he gave up the grand slam, it was kind of like, again, that same thing, a microcosm of our team. He just got punched in the face, and he was like, oh my gosh, I just gave up a grand slam, and we were up 2-0, and now we're down 4-2, and then just lost control and command, and we didn't get him out of there fast enough. We couldn't get him out of there fast enough, and then we brought in a freshman, his first outing, and again, FAU, the ballpark plays really small, and they're a really older team, and they took advantage of some bad pitches, and next a 12-run inning. But so that one 12-run inning that they get, if you take away that inning, like we outscore them 15 to 6 or something like that the rest of the game. And so again, that one inning just was like a punch in the face and a snowball that we just didn't handle very well mentally. And then A.J. Jones comes back on Sunday, and he goes 5 innings or 4 or 5 innings. He gives up 1 3-run homer. And that was it. Like, he pitched brilliantly other than the 3-run homer. So, again, it wasn't as bad as I feel like people made it out to be, but I thought we handled mentally just the managing the game and some things that didn't happen. Again, Colton had to pitch in bad weather on Friday night, opening night, and I thought that bothered him a little bit. And then he had to come back and pitch in it again, and I thought he was much better prepared. He had practiced pitching in the rain the week before, and so those first 4 or 5 innings, it was off and on rain, and I thought he handled that a whole lot better. He had a lot more interference too. I mean, he's pitching against one of his high school buddies, pitched on the same summer team in Nikhazy, so like he had a lot of different things that I thought he managed just way better. And so, again, I thought that there were some big moments where last week we kind of succumbed to him. This week I thought we were just mentally tougher. Hunter, the same thing, gives up the home run like in the second inning maybe, or first inning, I can't remember, but home run off dead center, and you're like, oh my gosh, like here we go again. And again, just the maturity of, okay, like no big deal. Like I gave up 3 runs. Like I just gotta hold him here. And because again, we had talked to him last week after the grand slam, we're down 4-2 or 5-2, whatever it is. Like just hold him there and we win the game. Like if you just come out of the game after 5 innings and give up 5 runs, like then we still win the game. You know what I mean? I just didn't feel like he did that. I felt like he felt like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just blew the lead, and I already gave up 4 runs, 4 runs, and it just got into his head. So I felt like he managed the game this time, and does a tremendous job, and is able to get whatever five great innings for us, and was able to hold him to 3 runs, and we obviously came back late in the game and got back in the lead and whatnot. So he did everything he was supposed to do that he didn't do last week. And then AJ obviously was just really, really good, and pitched tremendously well. And again, to be able to go, and again, he managed the game well. I mean, he went 6 innings, and he had that bases loaded in the 6th, and had a chance for them to take the lead and blow it open. And he managed and got the big strikeout with the bases loaded. And again, 3-run homer when he had that kind of inning, he couldn't execute the pitch and got hurt. And this week he was able to execute and do the thing. So again, I just thought mentally the starting pitchers managed the game a whole lot better. And so that was, again, and Zach Bennett, the guy who gave up the 2nd grand slam in FAU, his first outing, as a freshman. Now he's got a little bit more comfort level into him. He comes out here and throws 3 pretty dominant innings. You know what I mean? But again, he managed. And again, we try to teach our kids to learn from other guys. So he's been listening to us talk to the starting pitchers all week, and he gets a bases loaded, no outs, and very easily could have melted down, and now he gets a double play and a strikeout and gives up 1 run from that. Like, again, just managed that so well mentally, just being able to execute pitches, just worry about this pitch. Don't worry about, oh my gosh, how do I get 3 outs with bases loaded? Like, don't worry about that. Just worry about trying to execute this pitch, and good things will happen. And that's how you get out of that inning, by only giving up 1 run, which I thought was, something that a veteran presence does. And here he is at his 2nd career outing, or 3rd career outing. He got a couple innings against Stetson. But so I mean, again, we're moving the needle, man. We're getting better, and again, obviously it helps when you get. We played really good defense, and starting pitchers managed the game way better and handled some of the stress better. And again, I don't know. Hunter Pattison, I don't know if he pitches the way he did if he doesn't go through what he did on the opening weekend. So it's all part of that process. And again, we got punched in the face early in week 1, and I felt like our guys bounced back in week 2 and really, figured it out, and proud of them.
At the plate, you had a couple of big hits from Ben McCabe with a few homers on the weekend. Yeah. And then Alex Freeland, a guy who we picked as a preseason freshman All-American, is making us look really good because he had a nice weekend too. Speak to those guys' performances a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just huge. I mean, Alex, just as a freshman, to be able to do what he's done, and he's hitting. I mean, he hit over 500 for the weekend. He's hitting 500 for the year. I mean, he's just been, more walks than strikeouts. I mean, just doing a great job, playing great defense. I mean, again, he booted the first ball ever hit to him in opening day, and since then has played tremendous defense for us. Showing maturity at the plate, not chasing bad pitches, and then being able to put barrels on balls. I mean, he hit an Oppo home run and the opening weekend. So I mean, just being able to do some really, really good things to help us. And then obviously McCabe. I mean, he has such unbelievable power. I mean, that ball he hit to center field was absolutely demolished. And then hits another one to left field, and you can just see. And then again, that guy that's been in the program for 3 years is just starting to understand himself and understand what he can and can't do, and what pitches he can and can't hit. I mean, obviously Ben's been huge. I mean, he's got 14 RBIs through 7 games. I mean, that's big time stuff. So it's just proud of those 2 guys. But again, I mean, I think the one cool thing about, I mean, we try to have a dynamic offense. We want to be able to win different ways, and we obviously hit the home runs by Rathbone and Crouch in game 1 to take the lead. And then in game 3, it was more like, McCabe hits the big home run, but then it was a solo shot, and then it was just get a guy on, steal a base, base double, scores a run. You know what I mean? Like, we scored one run. Like, we had to steal bases. We had to do different things. We had to bunt. We got a bunt base hit. Like, so when we were doing different things, and it was 1 through 9. I mean, obviously Freeland and McCabe led the team, and they had the best weekends. But I mean, everybody else put together at bats, put together hits, put together stolen bases. Every single person that played in the game did something offensively to help us win. I mean, Tom Joseph had a couple of hits in that middle game. Matt Archer had a bunch of hits. There were a couple of hits that were big. Pablo Ruiz had a huge double. Obviously, Crouch and Rathbone, like I said, with those big home runs, and Rathbone had 2 other hits other than the home run. So I mean, Jeffrey Pena stole 2 bags and got on base 4 times, and he didn't have a great weekend for him. So I mean, but just 1 through 9, I mean, I thought like the offense, everybody did something to help us win. So it just wasn't one or two guys that we had to rely on. Like every game was somebody else that had 2 or 3 hits, and which is awesome. I mean, that's what you got to do. You can't rely on 1 or 2 guys. It's too risky. So to have the guys, again, we lost our 3-hole hitter in the game 1 halfway through with a lower leg injury. So, we didn't get to play him either of the games of the doubleheader. So again, just the toughness of next guy up, guys coming in and stepping up. We had to play some guys not out of position, but like Rathbone came in and played first base, which he hadn't really done at all since we've been back in the winter. Like he played a little bit in the fall, just kind of as an emergency thing. And and then McCabe, who's been playing first base in practice, has never played first base in a real game, played first base. So we did some different things, just to try to get through the weekend with the injury and all that kind of stuff. And so again, just the toughness that the guys showed, I thought was impressive.
You referenced it earlier, but this is the second straight year you've gone on the road and beaten an SEC team in a series. Last year you swept Auburn. This year taking 2 out of 3 at Ole Miss. Is there a different mentality going into these weekends?
I don't think so. I guess, you just want to you understand that winning these kinds of games, like, kind of, puts you on the map, so to speak, or gets people's attention. So, I don't think that, we don't try to do anything differently, but I think the kids just understand like the magnitude of who you're playing and all that kind of stuff, and want to show out and let everybody know like what this program is about and who they are as kids and who they are as baseball players. And I think that our entire league, you look at our entire league, I thought we had a great weekend playing some really, really good competition. But our league doesn't get enough respect. And I think that our whole entire league every weekend feels like, especially early on, that we got to prove to everybody that we feel like we're the second best league in the country. And that we've proven that time after time in terms of the success that we had, and that every week's a grind and every team has a chance to win our league. And there are no easy weekends, and there's really only one other league that can say that. You know what I mean? And so I think that we have the talent. We've had the guys that have been, top draft picks and things like that. And, we might not be as top heavy as a couple leagues in terms of talent, but when you look at 1 through 8 in our league and everything like that, like it's really, really good, and it is tough, and it is really, really well coached and really, really good baseball players. And I think that we all are trying to go out there to prove that our league it should be getting more respect, especially when it comes to the NCAA tournament, that we should be having 4 or 5 bids every single year because our guys, our teams deserve it. And so I think that kind of vibrate, or goes through our league, like from every head coach, like wanting to prove that we're better than what maybe we get credit for.
So conference play is around the corner, but before that, this week you have a rematch against Stetson and then a weekend with Liberty. How do you refocus after a big series win to face a Stetson team that you already know firsthand is really dangerous?
Yeah, we just got to be ourselves, right? Like, we just got to continue to play. We talk about raising the bar every single game, and every opportunity is, again, you want to prove that Ole Miss wasn't a fluke. You want to prove that we are the real deal. And you have to do that every single day. And we talked about it, like, we got to do it at practice tomorrow. We got to go out and practice tomorrow on Tuesday and prove to ourselves and just, anybody that comes to practice, if it's a scout or whatnot, to prove like, hey man, like we earned that win this weekend. Like they didn't lose those games. Like we beat them. You know what I mean? Like, and we're a really, really good team. And the some of the love that we got preseason that we didn't do a very good job of proving those people that they were smart by putting us in those rankings and all that kind of stuff. Like, that was the aberration, us losing, not us winning this weekend. And we got to prove that every time we go out on the field. So we go and practice on Tuesday. We got to prove to everybody that who the real us is. And then we go on Stetson on Wednesday. We got to do the same thing. Like, we got to prove that we didn't play well. And we didn't show up on the last time we played. And we got to go out there and prove it. And it doesn't mean wins or losses. That just means by the energy and how you play the game. And sometimes you're going to play a really good game and lose. That's the game of baseball. But we want to go out there and feel like they beat us. You know what I mean? Like, we did everything we could, and the ball didn't go our way that day. That we didn't feel like that was the case that last Tuesday. We didn't even show up. So, and again, they played really, really well. And not saying that we would have won if we had played well, but we didn't make it a competitive game because we're still in shell shock. So we got to do a much better job of showing up and doing what we can to at least give ourselves a chance to win the game. You know what I mean? And again, we got to do that against Liberty and then North Florida, and then FAU and Jacksonville and Florida State and Troy before we get to South Florida. And so we got to continue to try to move the needle, get better, raise the bar every single day in practice, raise the bar every time we get a chance to strap it on and play somebody else. And again, I thought we did a good job of that last year. Once we beat Auburn, like, we just kept going, kept playing. So we got to continue that and understand that I think they realize it now, like how easily you better bring your A game or you get knocked on your tail. You know what I mean? And so we got to take what we did this weekend and kind of continue to move forward, and try to keep moving the program forward, and again, raising that bar every single day, because you don't want to be in that same feeling that we had, opening weekend.
Well, Coach, congrats again on the great weekend, and thanks so much for joining us.
Anytime.